What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. It is time, y'all. I've been promising a definitive bow guide for DD2, and this is it, for the current state of the game in 2024. Now, a few things to note before we jump in. It's a grind game, y'all. All of these bows are going to complete 99.9% of the game's content. So use the bow you like the most. Don't go off the numbers, go off of the shot you prefer, as your enjoyment and your experience is going to mean more for your time in Dungeon Defenders 2 than anything else. So use which one you like. In addition to that, all of these will be referring to the bow's fastest shot type. So for example, when we get to the pentas, we're talking about a Penta 3, so 4 shots per second. A Penta 1, of course, is 2 shots per second. A Penta 2 is 2.5 shots per second. A Penta 3, of course, is going to be 4 shots per second. So all of these numbers will be referring to the fastest firing rate bow, and that's the one that you want to shoot for. Now, special thanks to community member Artie for crunching all of these numbers and always coming up with the deep dive into all of the maths in Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, this video was going to be the top 10 bows. It actually got stretched to the top 11 bows, as I just feel like the 11th bow on the list deserves a spot, and that is the double shot. The double shot drops from the Harbinger, or can also be on the Phoenix bow that comes from Mana Node's gifts in Onslaught mode. The double shot is a nice shot type that also works with charged shot, so it adds a large bit of damage there. The double shot is going to do 3.168 base damage per hero damage point that you have. So throughout this video, we'll be referring to the base damage of the bows throughout. Of course, if you set the bow up properly with the right mods and shards, you're going to get the most out of it. If you don't use the right mods and shards, then the bow may not be as effective for you. However, double shot gives you 3.168 damage per point of hero damage. Now, moving right on along to my personal favorite bow is the Corrupted bow. I absolutely love this shot type. It has the exact same scalar as the double shot. It is 3.168 damage per point of hero damage. And it also has the ability to pierce targets. So you're going to get the benefit of shooting and hitting 3 targets, as it's going to pierce through the first several. Now remember, since this bow has a pierce, it pierces targets, it does not pierce shields. So if you want to pierce shields, you're still going to have to use some sort of piercer, either in mod or ring form. Moving right along to the triple 3. As you see here, I've only got a triple 2 to show. You would want the triple 3, which of course is going to be 4 shots per second. Now, there's one big problem with the triple 3, and that is the width of the shot. All of these numbers are also going to be based on all of the projectiles hitting the target. So, say our lovely seamstress here is an evil little Gobu, and we're this far away, well, we're only hitting her with 1 shot, which means we're getting 1/3 of the bow's effectiveness, and we would have to be right up on top of her, really. I mean, right there practically, to get all 3 shots to land. The triple 3 does do 3.42 points of damage per point of hero damage you have. So 3.42 range damage per point of hero damage you have on that hero. Moving right along to the newest bow in the game, the Gothic longbow. This is the new bow that drops from Malachi. It's got the explosive arrow shot type. Of course, you're going to want 4 shots per second. This particular one is going to be 3.544 points of damage per point of hero damage you have applied to the hero. Now, the benefit this bow has is it is an explosive shot. You see the glow on the wall there. That is the AoE radius that this bow does. So it does do a nice AoE effect if you're looking for something that's more into lane clear. This bow also shoots fast, 4 shots per second, so you're going to be ripping the charged shots off and getting a lot of value out of that. The bow itself is one of my newest favorites. I'm actually using it quite often right now. As you see, I've got it all modded up. The Gothic longbow is definitely one to keep an eye out for. Now, moving up one step higher, we've got the Penta. The Penta, you would want the Penta 3 at 4 shots per second. This one is slightly higher scaling at 3.6 points of damage per hero damage you have on that hero. This one suffers the same thing as the triple shot, and that is all the damage is based on all the projectiles hitting. So our lovely seamstress, once again, at just this range, is only getting 1 projectile. If we go into what we can probably get, we can get 3 projectiles of the 5 hitting her there. And then we'd have to be super, super close to get all 5 projectiles to land. So this bow, you're going to have to be at super close range to get the value from it. However, it is going to give you 3.6 points of damage per hero damage you have invested into the hero. Now, the next bow, sadly, I do not have an example of, and that is the Cross Blaster 3. It's a super cool bow. I don't know why I didn't have one. I'm guessing it had a 10 out of 10 mod on it, and I consumed the bow, moving the mod over to something else. The Cross Blaster is going to be similar to the Penta or the Triple, except it's 7 projectiles, which makes it nearly impossible to get all 7 projectiles to hit. You would literally have to be right up an enemy's booty to get all 7 of those projectiles to land. However, the bow is super cool, so well worth a look. This one is doing 3.6729 damage per point of hero damage you have invested into the hero. And now we're moving into some of the more popular bows, and we've got the Phoenix Shot. The Phoenix Shot, of course, drops from the Phoenix Boss in Embermount in Chaos 8 or higher. It's a super fun shot type. After you use it for a while, it will make your eyes bleed a little bit. And the number one complaint really with this bow is the projectile is so slow. You could actually outrun the projectiles. So, super slow projectiles, although it is an amazingly cool shot type. The Phoenix Shot is going to roll in at 3.744 damage per point of hero damage you have invested into that hero. Next up, we move into a bow that I don't think gets looked at very often. It's definitely a super cool bow, and that is the Jester Arrows. So the Tsunami, specifically with the Jester Arrows locked mod. This one actually has good damage scaling, and with the projectiles being in a column like that, it makes it very, very easy to land all of the projectiles on the weapon. This particular weapon is 5 projectiles, so you got 5 projectiles, but it's so easy to get them to land. The kicker here is you see that pierce up to 5 targets. So you've got another shot that pierces enemies, and I think this is going to be a bow I'm going to have to spend a little time with, as I do love the piercing bows. I do think the shot type on this one looks cool, and I think it's super, super easy to get all those shots to land. Jester Arrows is going to come in at 3.75 damage per point of hero damage spent. Next up, we have the Earth Guardian's bow. This is, in most cases, everyone's go-to. It's a very solid bow. It only does slightly more damage than the Jester Arrows. The Earth Guardians is going to be at 3.76 points of damage per hero damage spent. This one, of course, is going to drop in the mines, and it's going to be with the little Weather Beast boss. So, definitely a hot bow, a good one. It's got a faster moving projectile, so as far as the boss bows go, it's much more enticing than, say, the Phoenix Shot. And the main issue with this one is it is pure single target. So, say our lovely seamstress there is an ogre we're shooting at, and a orc walks in front of her. The orc is going to soak up that damage, and the ogre's not going to take any. So definitely a hot bow, one of the most popular used boss bows in the game, no doubt. 3.76 damage per point of hero damage spent. And now we go into the beast mode, and we're going to jump right into the Bling King bow. The The Bling King bow is an absolute powerhouse, y'all. As far as raw damage scaler, 7.5 damage per hero damage spent. That is absolutely ridiculous. Its base damage is literally almost double what the Earth Guardian's bow is. However, it comes with one major downside. First off, it is an AoE splash, so you do get AoE and lane clearing out of this bow, and a pretty nice radius on it as well, so you are able to use this bow really in most situations through the game for lane clearing. At 7.5 points of damage per hero damage, this is just a powerhouse of a bow, no doubt. Now the downside is it's got that locked mod, Bling Blast. Charged shots fire a stream, burning enemies for 76% hero damage twice per second for 10 seconds. The stream is 60 degrees wide and 2,300 units long. Now, that particular thing itself is just super cool, right? But it's not widely effective, and it doesn't proc off of charged shot. So it makes the charged shot shard completely unusable on this bow. That alone takes away a significant portion of its overall DPS. Although it is double the damage scaler of the Earth Guardian bow, it's still going to be doing more single target damage, but it's not going to be doing double of the overall damage because of the lack of being able to use charged shot, and then losing that mod slot to a really cool mod that's just not super effective. And then that leads us into the big enchilada. This bow has all the conveniences offered everywhere. It's pure single target. It only comes at 2.5 shots per second. That is the single 4. Now, this is the same shot type that the Bling King bow has. However, it doesn't have an AoE. In addition to that, it doesn't have a locked mod as well. Now, the single 4's upside is 7.5 points of damage per hero damage spent. So you get that big damage scaling without losing anything. So you don't lose charged shot, you don't lose a mod slot, you can fully jack this one for maximum DPS, and if you don't care about anything other than the number, this is the bow that you want to use. If you're looking for a single target damage bow for killing bosses, or whatever you would want a single target damage bow for, this will without a doubt be the king. You can mod it to however you want. You can use charged shot with it. The downside, I guess, versus the Earth Guardian is, although you can use charged shot, it's only 2.5 shots per second, which means you're not going to get as many charged shot procs. You're not going to get to the cap of charged shot procs with this bow, where with the Earth Guardian bow, you very likely will. So once again, although the damage scaler is double, it's not going to have double the overall effectiveness once you calculate in charged shot. Now that is an overall list of the 11 best bows in Dungeon Defenders 2. For a TLDW, use the bow you want. Don't go off this list because your fun factor rules the roost. However, if I was to suggest a bow to you, I would suggest the single 4 bow for boss killing, and then the Bling King bow for AoE lane clearing. Now, if you didn't want to have multiple bows set up and you just wanted one, the Bling King bow is just going to get the job done for you, y'all. It's just good. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to give you the amount of single target damage that the regular single 4 would give you. However, it is going to give you a bow that's very good in any situation through the game. Even without using charged shot, you lose a little bit there, but that also frees up a shard slot for you to add in something else. Now, nothing wrong with any of the other bows. Looking at these bows, it made me take a look at a few, and as I mentioned, one bow that I am excited to find a better version of and to try to get decked out a little bit is this Tsunami Jester arrows. I mean, I think that shot looks really cool, and the projectiles are pretty tight in a column, making it just super easy to land them all. I mean, even just off that little target dummy here at this range, I can easily hit all of the projectiles. So good stuff for that one. I think this one will be on my list of bows to get decked out and checking out. Now, as far as what mods you use, well, I think the overall general consensus would be Focused Power, Bouncing Phoenix, and Lucky Strikes. Bouncing Phoenix is just a huge damage scaler for any hero damage build. Lucky Strikes is a considerable amount of damage that stacks up 15 times once you get it fully stacked. Now, if you notice on my Blinking Bow, I'm not using Lucky Strikes, which you could use Lucky Strikes. If you looked at sustained damage with the Blinking Bow over the course of, say, 30 seconds, Lucky Strikes would rule the roost versus Bouncing Phoenix. However, most things don't live that long, so if you look at the sustained damage over, say, 10 seconds, Bouncing Phoenix is going to do more overall damage because it's going to take a while to get Lucky Strikes stacked all the way up. So, Focus Power, Bouncing Phoenix, and Lucky Strikes is going to get the job done for you. I personally go with Charged Shot, Bloody Strikes, and Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground is extremely powerful, but you have the problem of having to stand still. That is a real struggle for me, and I have to constantly remind myself, quit running and jumping around while I'm using Stand Your Ground. So there's lots of different options or shard configurations you would want. I think the two necessary for the Hunter would be Bloody Strikes and Charged Shot. Bloody Strikes also gives you the convenience of the bleed counting as an ignite for the Drakenlord, so it does remove that Drakenlord's bubble as well. So here are the overall numbers on the screen. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.